Hi, this is Mandee Widrick, and we are at the Redline Conference at New Life Christian Church this weekend. I'm sitting here with Paul and Susan Dunk, who are a couple of our speakers here the last couple of days. Susan, you spoke last night. Paul, you're speaking later today. So tell us a bit about what you're both about. I know you guys usually work as a couple, you travel as a couple, you do some stuff individually, but kind of share with us so we can understand what it is that you really do.
Susan and I pastored together for 15 years at our church in Ontario, Canada, at Koinonia Christian Fellowship. And out of that 15 years of pastoral kind of experience, we travel around and we partner with local churches, and really our hearts are to inspire and empower them to engage their culture. So in this context here at Redline, we're having a great time speaking to the teenagers, and Susan blew it up last night.
It was a great time last night, Susan. And one of the things that you said, one of our online viewers even pointed it out, that you had said something about David and how he was already being a king before he actually became king. And can you elaborate a little bit on that and what that can mean for individuals?
Well, I think that there's a myth that people will stumble upon their destiny, or they'll have to develop, I don't want to say that you're not going to have to develop it, but the way I said it last night is that you already are who you're going to be, in the sense that God put inside of you your personality, your abilities, your gifts, the way you think about life, your approach, that's already a part of you. And just like King David, before he was the king, he was already being a king in different areas of his life. So for part of the discovery is really looking at your life up to this point and saying, what am I already doing that is my destiny? So people who are already, taking responsibility and showing leadership gifts and abilities, well, that's obviously a part of who they're going to be. And people that are more nurturers, for them to look at that and say, what have I been doing up till now? And even sometimes, and I pointed this out last night, when people have been told something their whole life that's maybe negative, what in the right context could actually be a positive thing. So I mentioned the idea of someone who's been told their whole life they're stubborn. Well, what about God saying that's actually tenacity on the other side of that? So it's just like thinking about some of the things, sometimes even negative, that have been said to you your whole life, and really looking at that and saying, how is that how God's already called you to be who you are?
Last year, Paul, when you came to Redline, we did an interview last year. We live streamed it.
Yeah, I know, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was awesome. Really enjoyed it. But you did some just character impressions for us.
Yeah.
And we thought we had recorded the interview, only to find out later that we hadn't. We'd had some issues with the recording. So we're gonna go at this again.
Yeah, all right,
so
all right.
I want you to show our viewers what you're capable of.
Sure. Now I'm a little bit nervous about this, because last year at Redline I did some stuff. I did Star Wars in 30 seconds, and and a bunch of the teens have been bugging me to, are you going to do Star Wars in 30 seconds? And then they were saying, do Shrek. Everybody was saying, do Shrek, which I think when you and I were sitting down, I did Shrek. So. And the last time I did Shrek, a crazy thing happened. And I was doing this Shrek impression, talking about David being in the caves, and I was kind of saying, like Susan was saying, David was very kingly in the caves, and my comment was I would have been like Shrek in the cave. I would have been like, you stupid men, go find your own caves. And then Abishai would come over and be like, oh, come on, David, don't be so bad. Put on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Come on, David, you're supposed to be king of Israel. Remember how you got that giant down, David? And then I'd have been like, you stupid donkey. And I would have been depressed and like, find your own swamp. And I did this impression, and the church, really they loved it, they laughed, it resonated with the kids, the teens and stuff. And then I went out for dinner with the pastor, and when we went out for dinner, there was a group of people from the church there, and they were sitting down eating already. And when I walked by, this elderly lady leans back in her chair, and he says, oh, and the pastor says, oh, these guys are from our church, say hi to Paul Dunk. And this lady leans back in her chair, and she looks at me and she says, now I can tell that you've had some mentors help you do those voices, but I gotta tell you, your Shrek impression needs some work. And she was from Scotland, and she was like, I just need you to know that you need yourself a mentor to help you with that Shrek. And so I was like, oh my goodness, this lady from Scotland's in the front like, I'm totally not amused. You should wake up every morning and have some haggis. So hopefully, tonight when I bust out Star Wars in 30 seconds, hopefully there's no, I don't know.
And he's not the only one. Let's just say that our children have totally got the
That's
impression
true.
gene.
Yeah.
Not for me. I don't do them. In fact, they mock me and ask me to do them just so they can laugh at me.
I did ask tonight at Redline, tonight on stage, I asked my sons if they would come up and help me do a little bit of Star Wars in 30 seconds and bring some lightsabers or something, but I don't know if they're going to do it. But.
If you would like to find out more about the Redline Conference, if you're not able to make it this year, coming out in 2013, man, that sounds like a long ways off, but I know it'll be here quick. But coming out next year, you can visit our website at iredline.tv, and you can also follow the conversation on Twitter by following the hashtag RedCon.